the law
if you look
without
at-
I think
they did not-
No, one second.
They defrauded the spirit of the game.
Atul Wasan,
which I go into detail. The big problem
One
still
sec, one
there.
sec.
in the book, and that
One sec. Ed Hawkins is coming in. Yes, Ed.
betting in India at a swathe, you reduce the potential of spot and match fixing by about 50%, because 50% of the fixing is done by punters and 50% of the fixing is done by bookies. And when you legalise a market, those punters are unable to fix any market, to get any scam going, because once you have a regulated market, everyone who wants to place a bet, you need to know where they live, you need their telephone records, any bank details which are going to place a bet, and if a suspicious betting pattern is flagged up, which is what happens in a regulated market, you get the police knocking at your door in about 5 minutes. So if India had a legalized system, this kind of spot fix could not be organized by a punter. It could still happen by bookmakers, but I suspect if betting was legalized in India, then you'd get all kinds of you'd probably get some
Ed Hawkins,
Western bookies.
Ed Hawkins
jumping in.
Ed Hawkins, the counter to that, Ed. The counter to that, Mr. Hawkins. The counter to that, Mr. Hawkins, is that in UK, Dawood Ibrahim is not putting the money. The underworld is not putting the money. The money is not going through extremely suspicious money laundering operations, which in India are known as Hawala. So I think it's, with the greatest of respect to both you and Mr. Bhimani, that comparison is inappropriate.
D company is not in England.
Comparison is appropriate because if you make something illegal, you push it to the margins of society.
My first question to Mr. Kirmani. Mr. Kirmani, not just a spot, but according to the bookies, a whole session is being fixed. Now that's very serious. That's match fixing, not spot fixing.
Yeah, now I have not seen any footage. I've only been hearing everybody discussing within themselves, and I could not follow because there was so much of concoction between the individuals, those who were with Times Now on a debate and discussion on the entire controversial issue. The topic is, are they the only three guys, or are there any beyond these three guys? That was the topic given, and we jumped the topic, and there was a distracted kind of discussion between all the guests of yours. Nevertheless, my impression is the evidences are there, the footage is there, everything is being shown, everything is being written about it, and now important is how do you prove this? That is the question right now to me. Now you got to prove this right in front of everybody. Yes, somebody has to plead guilty on this.
No,
they pleaded guilty?
No, Mr. Kirmani, the problem is, and this is where I want to get in Mehir Bose also. There is no way.
Arnab, can I have a say?
No, one sec, Rahul Mehra. There is no way, is there, Mr. Bose, in which you can say that the actual performance of the guy who's fixed is linked to the promise he makes a bookie. There is no way in which you can link a conversation a bookie has with a player on the phone to the player's performance. So does that mean everyone gets away?
The only way you can do it, the only way you can do it is how those three Pakistani cricketers were caught. They were caught because an undercover news reporter pretended to be a bookie. So you need an undercover policeman to go in and find these things out, because it's quite clear the cricket authorities will not do anything. The cricket authorities have not demonstrated that their anti-corruption unit works. The cricket authorities have not been able to remove the stain and the stigma of bookmaking and illegal bookmaking and match fixing, which has now been going on for over 15 years.
No, but you know, I worry.
So the only way is if the judicial authorities in India were to have an undercover unit which goes behind the scenes and finds out the facts.
No, I actually want to go to the international umpire. I'm coming back to you, Atul.
Can I add a little more into it?
Mr. Hariharan.
Other day on the show.
No, Mr. Hariharan. One second. Mr. Hariharan, as far as you saw last news report, what worries me, Mr. Hariharan, about the last news report is it possible that these two cheats, Srishant and Chandilia, got the revised target while they were on the field? Because Jiju Janardhan is sitting in a VIP box.
I mean, it is not, normally it is practically very, very difficult, not possible at all. But to prove this, to get into this system, like in our government departments, what we do is we plant some informers. And that informers, that identity is kept secret. And they get into the system and they pass on the right information for us to catch those culprits. This is like as he said, the undercover agent. Like a media undercover agent.
No, but where is
the plant some informers?
But Mr. Hariharan, you know, my problem right now is, my problem is, Kishore Bhimani and Gautam Bhattacharya tell me, the BCCI and the International Cricket Council have already congratulated themselves on the manner in which they are carrying out the investigation. They are not looking at what these bookies are saying. They are not looking at sessions fixing. They are not looking at the technology which is used. They are not looking at those possibilities. They have told the entire country, Mr. Bhimani, 3 rotten eggs. Chapter closed. That's it. Franchisees clean, 3 rotten eggs. Let's move on.
And why are we taking BCCI at face value?
No, because they are deciding the nature of the investigation, Mr.
No, they have always brushed things under the carpet.
So we don't want, nobody should, right?
It's media, it's people like us, all of us who have doubted this. None of us trust the BCCI. I certainly don't trust the BCCI. As somebody pointed out quite early, there is Mr. Srinivasan in the president's chair, there's Mr. Srinivasan running a franchise, there's Mr. Srinivasan taking press conferences. It is rotten from the top. It is not just, so how can you trust them? They want to say just these 3 guys, and then Rajiv Shukla comes and makes another inane statement that it is just these 3 people and we will punish them.
So,
lock them up for life? That's not the answer. The answer is a systemic change.
No, I'm asking today that one session, there's a possibility, Gautam Bhattacharya, that an entire session could have been fixed. You have the media talking about it. One part of the media. Tell me, Gautam Bhattacharya, is the BCCI looking at session fixing? Are they looking at it?
BCCI, I would again differ with Kishore on this. BCCI, the immediate repercussion is restrictions on the journalist movement. That is what they would do. I mean, just to give you an example, this afternoon I was inquiring, I called up a BCCI functionary just to find out in which hotel the Indian team would be staying in Birmingham, so that me as a covering India, I'll be covering the tournament, I can stay at the same hotel, and that is what we have done over the years because it helps quite a lot if you stay at the team hotel. And he said, for journalists, we can't tell you. I said, look here, I'm an Indian journalist covering Indian team. He said, no. From now on, there are complete restrictions. So this is what is going to happen. There will be further restrictions on the journalist movement, and nothing would happen as far as match fixing is concerned.
You see, the problem is if the BCCI begins to look upon the media as a problem. If the BCCI feels that the media must stop its coverage.
Can I say something here?
Yes, Atul.
Okay, you know, now 2 things quickly I'll say. These, how many bets and how many various probabilities are there in a betting? Everybody knows you can stop a kid and you can find a session. Define session. Session, tomorrow the bookies might start using 3 over the sessions, or they might go to just 6-ball sessions. You know, it's not the point. The point is that even in a casino, when you play the roulette, you can play the number, you can play black or white, you can play odd even, you can play the dozen.
But for God's sake, Atul, this is not roulette, this is cricket.
If one player is fixing any aspect of his sport, then he's fixing the whole game.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's not decide the permutations of what bookies do and what kind of sessions.
I am simply
who's telling us that Jiju was signaling from the stage? This guy sitting in the dark, who has got no indemnity, he is telling us that Jiju was signaling and the target was fixed.
Atul, I'm sorry, but I know, you know what my worry is, that the entire cricket establishment will come and say tomorrow, don't believe these bookies. Believe us. 1,000 or 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 bookies may tell you that this is happening. Don't believe any of them. Believe us, because we are telling you 3 rotten eggs. Finito. Open and shut case. What can be worse than that? Justice Mukul Mudgal is joining us tonight. As one of India's most respected judges, he has adjudicated on matters concerning match fixing in the past, concerning several scandals to the game. Justice Mukul Mudgal, we are talking about legal intricacies tonight. Do you think there is enough in this case to build a watertight legal case against the players?
Well, as far as Section 420 is concerned, now that Rajasthan Royals have become the complainant, the ingredient is dishonestly depriving a person of his property. And here, the owners can say that we put trust in our players, and therefore they have betrayed that trust and they are guilty of cheating. Similarly, a spectator, if he were to be a complainant, can say that I bought a ticket expecting a fair match, and I've been shown a match which was fixed to some extent. So that way it can come. But if a definition of match fixing comes right and proper, then I'm sure it will be easier.
No, but how
to
how does one expand the scope of this inquiry, Justice Mudgal? How does one, you see, there is now, here's a challenge. There is a mountain of new evidence which is coming out with the media, with bookies talking, with tapes coming out, with anecdotal evidence. Now, all this kind of evidence needs like a truth commission. We need a very detailed, impartial investigation, not a BCCI investigation, surely.
I'm sure if BCCI is serious about it, they can appoint an independent person to do the investigation to show that they are serious about it. And I'm sure if the BCCI introspects about it, they might probably do it.
Okay.
And this will restore public trust.
I don't know if how many people are going to actually trust a BCCI appointed investigation anymore into this. Boria, your hand went up 1 minute into the debate before I close it. Yes, Boria, very briefly, 10 seconds.
Yes, you know, Arnav, just one quick point. You said 3 rotten eggs, are we going to buy it? This is the 3rd straight news hour that you've done. Are we buying it? We are civil society, cricket fans, analysts, media, journalists. We will keep questioning. So don't just keep doubting. You and I will make sure that the BCCI is questioned. You and I will make sure that the verdict is reached. You and I will make sure that something's there. Don't just say the BCCI will get away with a cover-up.
Well, as of now, everyone across the entire country is crying for an expanded inquiry. We have 3 exclusive news reports tonight which we put out. The only fact which emerges is this: it cannot be. It just cannot be 3 rotten eggs. It's bigger, and we'll get to the heart of the story. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.